I like this fight. There's a bet of going under 10.5 rounds at a plus 125. I think that's awesome value. I think Benavidez will be getting the knockout in this fight or a TKO. What's up, guys? We're big fans of the NFL here at Inside Fighting, and we've partnered up with DraftKings to bring you guys an incredible offer. DraftKings is an official partner of the NFL, and right now, if you're a new customer, you can bet $5 of your own money and you get $150 of bonus bets instantly. All you got to do is use promo code Inside Fighting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still use DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports to get in on all the action. I do it all the time. But if not, if you're a new customer, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just use promo code Inside Fighting. What's up, guys? It's me, Jesse Rowe, with Inside Fighting. This is Insider Betting, and we had a little last-minute change of plans, so I'm rolling solo this week. And we got some good, interesting fights coming up this weekend, so we're just going to do a quick little rapid fire. This is a different kind of episode. Normally, we have the back-and-forth debate-style format. This week, it's just going to be me giving out my takes, a little rapid-style format. We have some big boxing fights this weekend, and we have a couple of big MMA fights in the PFL. So let's figure out a way where we can sort of parlay the two together. Let's figure out how we're going to make money on some of the heavy favorites that are on these cards, because there are a couple of like really heavy favorites that are just not worth betting on the money lines. So let's get into it. First off, this weekend, we obviously have the David Benavidez, Demetrious Andrade fight, and on that card is the not Jermall Charlo, but it's Jermall Charlo fighting Jose Benavidez, the little brother of David Benavidez. The older brother of David Benavidez. This is one of those heavy favorites. Let's get this one out of the way. Jermall Charlo is a minus 800 versus Jose Benavidez, who is a plus 900. I'm not going to bet on the money line on this one. You'd have to bet everything you got in order to even turn a small profit. So the way I see it is that there's an interesting bet where the over-under is 8.5, and you're getting a plus 180 to bet on Charlo to win under 8.5 rounds. And I actually am kind of intrigued by this bet because I think that he's clearly heavily favored. They believe that they can get him, that Charlo can get him out of here. And let's not forget, Charlo has just teamed up with Roy Jones Jr. as one of his new trainers. I really like that pairing. I think that Charlo is going to learn a lot from it. I think he's in a good headspace. I think that he's sort of, dealt with some stuff on the side, outside of the ring, that I think he's cleared up. I think he's in a good mental headspace. I think teaming up with Roy Jones Jr. is a great, just life choice for him, let alone boxing choice. And I could see him getting Benavidez out of there in under 8.5 rounds. I'm going to take the under on that. I think that he could get a knockout in like the first 6 or 7 rounds. To win by KO or TKO, he's a plus 155. For a decision, he's a minus 125. Benavidez by decision or KO, TKO are basically the exact same. He's a plus 1,000 or plus 1,100, which suggests to me that Vegas believes that he has to win by KO that Benavidez has to win by KO in order to win it all, that he will not be winning on decision. That's why the odds are so even in terms of either KO or decision. In the main event of this card, we have David Benavidez versus Demetrious Andrade. Benavidez is a minus 390 favorite, Andrade plus 290. I actually think Benavidez could potentially be a heavier favorite in this fight. If you haven't seen some of the press conference between these two, it's kind of funny. Go watch it. But I'm pretty confident with betting on Benavidez in this fight. They call him the Mexican monster for a reason. As Mike Tyson coined the phrase, the dude's an absolute wrecking ball. And he beat the crap out of Caleb Plant, even though I know that fight went to decision. I like this fight. There's a bet of going under 10.5 rounds at a plus 125. I think that's awesome value. I think Benavidez will be getting the knockout in this fight or a TKO, because if you look at the Caleb Plant fight, Benavidez was beating him up in those later rounds before the 10th round, and that fight should have been stopped, I believe, at least. That fight could have easily been stopped. I think Plant took too much damage. I think the ref could have stopped that fight. So in that regard, my logic is very simple. I think Kayla Plant is better than Demetrious Andrade. So I do think that Benavidez will be getting out of there in the first 8 or 9 rounds with a knockout. or TKO. So I like that bet at a plus 125. We also have the PFL World Championships going on tonight, and there's some actually really good fights on this card, kind of going under the radar. Obviously, PFL just bought Bellator, so this is a big event for them. They want it. This is their first event since the news that they've purchased Bellator, that they are trying to form a competitor with the UFC. And it shows with the talent that they put on this card. Aside from putting Francis Ngannou or some of their biggest names, they did put Kayla Harrison on this card, and she's fighting former UFC vet Aspen Ladd, former contender Aspen Ladd. Kayla Harrison, rightfully so, is a massive favorite in this fight. She's a minus 850. Ladd is a plus 575. And I'm not betting this on the money line, but I would bet the house on Kayla Harrison. She's coming off of a loss to Larissa Pacheco. She's basically taken a year off. I think that was smart for her. She's an absolute freak of nature, and she's obviously a judo practitioner. She's excellent on the ground, but she's also a great striker. She's kind of the complete package for women's MMA. And because I don't want to bet on the money line, I think that there's good opportunity to bet on winning methods. And it's a plus 250 for her to win by KO, TKO, but also a plus 250 for her to win by submission. And so it's basically the same. Either she's going to win by, basically the thing, she's going to win by ground and pound, or she's going to win by submission. I'm betting on either one of those. I think it's a 50-50 coin flip a coin, pick which one. I'm leaning submission for a couple of reasons, because I do think that Aspen Ladd has a tendency to get complacent, to get despondent, get bored. And I could totally see her getting in a situation where she gets, wrestled to the ground and then submitted pretty easily. I could see this fight ending in the first round via submission, and I'm pretty confident about it. Next one, I think, is like my favorite high value underdog of all of these fights. It's Sadibou Sy, I forget how you pronounce it, versus Magomed Magomedkerimov. Say that 3 times over. Sadibou Sy is a plus 170 underdog, whereas Magomedkerimov is a minus 205. Sadibou Sy is a human highlight reel, and Sean Strickland calls him the best striker he's ever sparred with in the gym. And that means something to me, because Strickland's one of the best defensive boxers, standing kickboxers that you'll see, or boxing and MMA. I like Sadibou Sy in this fight. I don't know enough about Magomed to be super confident with it, but I do believe Sadibou Sy is a great striker. He's a virtuoso striker, high value underdog pick, and he's defending his title. And I've spoken to Sadibou Sy. I've interviewed him a couple times. He's a really cool guy. He's really dedicated and motivated. He loves being a star for the PFL. He genuinely wants to be their welterweight star. And winning by KO is a plus 500. And I just love that bet. That's like my favorite high value underdog pick. He is such a great striker that he can knock out anybody on any given night. I'm pretty confident in making that bet and comfortable with losing, because I don't know enough about Magomed, but I really do like Sadibou Sy. This is an interesting one, because it is Olivier Aubin-Mercier at a minus 270 versus Clay Collard at a plus 220. This is for the lightweight championship. I think this is actually decent value for Aubin-Mercier, considering how dominant he's been in the PFL. At a minus 270, those aren't terrible odds. They're not great odds, but they're not terrible odds for somebody that has been as dominant as he has been. He obviously beat Shane Burgos last year. He's coming off of an incredible knockout. He's been a wrecking ball in this division in the PFL. And Clay Collard, obviously I haven't seen him fight much, but he did just come off of beating Shane Burgos. But I actually thought Shane Burgos kind of beat him up a lot in that fight. Shane Burgos landed a lot of big shots where I think Clay Collard could have easily lost that fight. He deserved the win, but I think that he could have easily lost. And I just think that Aubin-Mercier is on a higher level. I'd bet this very confidently at a minus 270. I would take the money line in this fight, but because I just think that at those odds, he's at such a high level that I could see him being like a minus 400 or minus 500 in this fight. So I'm comfortable with betting on Aubin-Mercier, and that leads me to my parlay. I'm going to parlay some of my picks that I've made. I've made some interesting ones because I think it's actually pretty damn good odds that I have gotten here. So if I take this is all through DraftKings betting slip, by the way. I'm going to bet on David Benavidez by KO, TKO, DQ. I'm also going to add Hector Luis Garcia in there. This is a little sneaky pick of mine. He's at a minus 290 on this card, but he fought Tank Davis like a year back. I think he had actually like a couple decent moments early in that fight. He ended up getting TKO'd because he kind of lost vision in his eye. But I think he's actually a really talented boxer, and he's fighting Lamont Roach. I think he's going to win this one pretty easily. So I'm going to throw that into a parlay at -290. I'm going to throw Jermall Charlo in there on the money line. Kayla Harrison to win by submission at a +250. And then Aubin-Mercier to win on the money line at a -270. And that ends up being a plus 1641. So you bet $100, you get $1,741. I like it. And you can also, like I said, you can swap out Kayla Harrison by submission to Kayla Harrison by KO or TKO. Either one works. Just, think about it before you make that bet, because I've thought about it and I could see Adpen Ladd giving up. So that's why I'm going with submission over KO, even though I do believe it is a coin flip between which way she will win, what winning method plays out. But I like submission.